A Fate series is essentially me saving some time by reusing the premise of a story for multiple chapters, so to speak, replacing the character you, the listener, are being shipped with. For this Fate series, we are simply going with Brian, then Monty, Freddy, Sun, and Moon in that order. And as a special treat, if every one of these videos reaches 1,500 views before the first 24 hours are gone, I'm going to make a Sun and Moon chapter of this. So if you want that bonus chapter, you better start sharing that video on social media, alright? Well, I hope you enjoy this one, and let's get right into it. How humiliating. Sign duty, followed by a night shift, just to get the day off on the 25th. Christmas was an interesting time at the Pizzaplex. Fazbear Incorporated loved the holiday, and the money it made them. Understandable. All those financial recoveries followed by hard hits and then slow recoveries again must have been draining their minds. The Fazbear Christmas events, as in multiple events, began with Black Friday, when the various souvenir shops got rare toys from all around the world delivered to it, such as a Samurai Freddy action figure usually only sold in Fazbear Japan, and the German variant of Faz bars that somehow managed to be sweeter than their American counterparts, yet have half the calories. Those were your personal favorite, by the way. After Black Friday, the Christmas decorations were hung up. Slowly, until all of them were hung by the 10th of December. Starting with the atrium, then the lobby, and then going from east to west of the building. The final change before Christmas itself was a special redesign for all animatronics. Yes, even DJ Music Man. The entire celebration would end on the 5th of January, with an additional event on December 31st and the 1st of January. It was the best of times for Fazbear fans. It was the worst of times for Fazbear employees. Not only did you barely survive Black Friday, a giant woman then picked you up as you tried to stop her from entering the souvenir shop, as already way too many people were in the store, before throwing you into a group of more people behind her. Luckily, someone had helped you get on your feet, so you weren't that injured. You were shift guard. This meant that you had to adjust to both day and night shifts, and while your work contract had the rule to never do both shifts at once, if you wanted any kind of overtime in the hopes to force a day off, you'd need to do both more often than not. These special days off you worked really hard for were not working on the 25th, the 31st, the 1st of January, and your birthday. Those were the days you definitely wanted off. Thankfully by now, someone at the company respected that, and already in anticipation when making the yearly schedule made you have days off during those days. But also put you on double shifts on their own, which sometimes really screwed with your schedule. What you didn't know in advance were special jobs such as the one you were doing right now. Today, outside, in the cold. Sign duty. This duty entailed standing outside with a co-worker dressed up as a Santa elf, pointing a sign advertising that Freddy Claus was in the building. Of course, Freddy Claus was just Glamrock Freddy dressed in a red cloak, fake beard hanging from his lower jaw, with a hat, listening to what children wanted for Christmas. Mall Santa stuff, really. You felt freezing. The costume wasn't really warm and was quite tight for you. But not in a sexy way, more in a the bigger uniform was already taken by someone else, but this one probably fit kind of way. Ironic. As a child, whenever you brought outfits, you often heard, "You'll grow into it." And now, everything was too tight. You sighed, dunking a plain donut into caffeinated hot cocoa. Your day shift had ended with no incidents, but now your nose was runny. You were sitting inside the refurbished Bonnie Bowl. The attraction had been closed in September for a massive redesign. It was now called Slocum's Joe's Diner. It even had a new mascot. Joe. A donut with a face on it. The animatronic they had made was simpler than any other in the Plex. Even the security bots were more advanced. It was just a very basic one. Joe just stood on stage, slowly turning from left to right, advertising the food, singing. Everything was pre-recorded. There wasn't even an AI in him. They really didn't care for this attraction. They just wanted to get rid of Bonnie. But the new menu was pretty good. So many various kinds of donuts that you've never seen before. As you continued dunking your pastry and eating the softened chocolate-covered treat, you failed to notice that your break was coming to an end. Not that you cared at this point. You stopped caring midway through your day shift today. Too cold and painful. Slowly you guided the half-eaten donut to your mouth, placing it on your tongue and crushing the soft and spongy bread with your tongue. The caffeinated cocoa went down your throat like a life-saving liquid, warming you, feeding you, tired as you were. From the rapid changes in heat, going in and out of the pizza plex in something very tight and thin, was exhausting. You placed a hand on your forehead. Your fingers were still ice cold, and your head was warm.
Hey kids, remember to ask your parents' permission before drinking Joe's caffeinated hot cocoa. We don't want you to throw up all over the bowling alley.
Shouted the mediocre animatronic. You snorted. Yeah, right. Your security tablet rung with a notification. There was no one in the pizzaplex that could give you orders, so it had to be one of the animatronics with a question. Rolling your eyes, you placed the tablet on the table and scrolled through. Apparently Monty demanded access to Gator Golf, despite the attraction being closed overnight. Humoring him, you opened the gate for the animatronic, knowing that if you gave Monty everything he wanted by 5 AM, he'd go into his room on his own. However, as you were managing the robots, you failed to notice the mechanical footsteps approaching you from behind. Probably made worse by Joe's blurting of advertisements. And you shrieked, your hands almost jumping out of your chest, when a pair of two skeletal hands were pressed on your eyes from behind. You fought against the restraint, but your assailant was quite powerful.
Guess who I am, Night Guard?
That voice, that mechanical grip, the coldness of metal pressing against your eyes. You are being assaulted by an animatronic. It's you, son! You shouted angrily. The robot let go, and you turned to face the machine, glaring at him.
Exactly! You're so smart, Miss Night Guard.
What are you doing here? You huffed. Putting a hand on your chest, to calm your heart.
I missed you!
That was a lie, clearly. You narrowed your eyes. And what's the real reason? Innocently, the robot folded both hands behind himself, bouncing back and forth on his heels.
Slocum's Joe is the only place in the Pizzaplex that's light enough during the blackouts to not let him out. And, you know, I don't like it when he gets out.
Sun was talking about his other half, Moon. The daycare attendant had two opposing personalities. The carefree Sun, who played with the toddlers in the daycare during playtime, and Moon, a more strict machine, there to enact nap time. However, during the blackouts, he supported the security guard in defensive activities. For obvious reasons, the two personalities hated each other. This goes against your programming. Do I have to make a wipe? The sentience wipe needed to be applied occasionally. But the robot just shrugged. Whatever. You took the cocoa cup and took a deep swig of it. I don't care. If you really need a wipe, they're gonna do it. Don't need me to do it. I'm bored. The robot's head spun around.
Night Guard, are you okay? Usually you like wiping our minds.
Can we stop talking about this? I walked around in an elf costume the entire day. I really don't care anymore.
Oh.
I had ambitions. I mean, not really. When I was 14, my dear old dad suffered from burnout, and ever since then, everything just went down the drain for me. Do you know what burnout is? He shook his head. I really shouldn't unload on you. This conversation is probably being recorded, isn't it?
I am programmed with 3 levels of secrecy and honesty. Level 1, friendship. I share information you give me if someone asks. Level 2, parent level. A specific setting that makes me automatically report any child abuse. Level 3 would be psychologist. Upon request by adults, not including employees unless they are off duty, anything they tell me will be encrypted and can only be given away upon request.
Right. So right now I can't talk freely. He shrugged.
Yep.
Awkwardly, the robot kicked the ground.
Night Guard, I'm sorry I'm not programmed to keep things such as this a secret, at least not right now, since you're on duty.
I know you're trying to comfort me. He walked over to the chair opposite to you and sat down. And how often does Amir ask this stuff? The robot blinked.
Any harsh criticism of the company will be automatically submitted as a complaint.
Interesting. You finished your donut in what felt like no time. Disappointed, you looked at the crumbs. You wanted more.
May I suggest something, Miss Night Guard?
You looked up at him.
Why don't you finish your work for today and then meet me in parts and services? There are no cameras. And I wouldn't be legally allowed to record our conversation, or at least give it away.
I mean, that sounds alright. Sure. I'll be there. It was late. Or more. Early in the morning. The early shift had already arrived for morning prep and the breakfast menu. You had successfully finished the guard switch and were now on your way to parts and services. Your excuse had been that you lost something there. As expected, the daycare attendant was here. Understandable, a few additional lights, usually only used for precision repairs, were turned on to stop Moon from appearing. You sat down on the airbed Brian had dragged in, while the robot sat down on a metal lawn chair. and then you just started to unload. Occasionally, he made you stop to elaborate more, or to ask what a word meant, and made you realize something. That you really needed a friend. For a while. But you know what the worst thing is about my life? You said. I missed out on having all these first times in high school, when you're supposed to have them. First kiss, first boyfriend. I had all of these after I turned 18, and I just feel like my childhood had gone to waste, and now I'm here, and every day's the same.
If I was programmed to feel depression, I certainly would have developed it by now.
You sighed. Yeah. Right. Guess. But thanks for listening to me. You looked at him and smiled.
Ah, well, I'm programmed to do so.
Okay, now I'm curious. What are you not programmed to do? You huffed, jokingly at first.
I don't fully understand the question.
You narrowed your eyes challengingly. You narrowed your eyes challengingly. Sitting up, you were the one bombarding him with questions now. Oh, of course, you could have just asked on-duty engineer Kevin, but that was boring. Also, he was currently busy. Apparently, he was teaching a small group of would-be fastbare engineers somewhere in Texas. Your questions started innocent. With can you ride horses? But without realizing it, they had become more and more mature. Can you kiss?
I can give small pecks on my friends for good behavior, but outright kissing is a no-no.
That wasn't what I asked. Flustered, the robot fidgeted. You leaned forward, almost falling off the mattress. Your hands taking hold of his facial plate.
Night guard!
With a smug smirk, you pressed your lips onto his. Not caring whether or not this was sanitary. You always acted like you were drunk when you were tired. It was making you act up. He squeaked like a dog toy. Such a cute noise. You hummed. Did you like that? He blinked and whimpered happily. Well, we just learned that you can kiss. What's next? Do you know how to take a woman's clothes off? Come on, get up. You lean back on the bed and get on top of me. He followed your orders, albeit sheepishly. Sun was really tall, so while you were lying on your back, he awkwardly needed to kneel before the mattress. Though he was a robot, meaning that this position wasn't in any way uncomfortable. Alright, now take the top button of my blouse. Slowly, gently, you instructed him how to take off your jacket, then your belt.
Miss Nightguard, is this inappropriate?
He asked as he pulled down your pants. He reached up, pecking his forehead before saying, "It's only inappropriate if I don't want it. And I want you." If Sun could blush, he would. Because he understood how lewd this next request was going to be.